Hello, this is Sean for MacPoker.com. I'm going to make a series of videos playing microstakes so that you can see some of the good plays and probably mistakes that I'll make having not played at some of these levels before. But hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun and be able to get into some interesting spots so you players that are just getting into ring game poker can get a good insight on how to beat the limits you're at right now. Personally, I didn't spend too much time at 10 no limit. When I made my deposit, I didn't really have any semblance of bankroll management, and I got real upset at 10 no limit because it didn't seem like real poker to me. Just people were playing so stupidly. But 25 no limit, I started to see kind of a consistent game. But it doesn't mean that you can't win a tremendous win rate at 10 no limit. So we'll dive right into this. And as we record, I'm probably going to cut out certain hands just because there's no sense in really showing some of the natural folds. I can only record one table at a time. Unfortunately, normally I play 9. The problem that we have is that the sites that this is going to be shown on, specifically YouTube and PokerTube, really can only show one table at a time. I use Hold'em Manager, which you can find at holdummanager.net, and it's a hand history program where it imports everything into a database and then it displays a HUD. So I'll explain the numbers, and it'll be a good thing to go through. This could be a real nice introductory video to not just 10 no limit play, but really what a HUD can do for you and show you. So you'll see it pop up right now. And we'll go through as, of course, the table breaks down. So I've got to bring up another table, and so in case this one dies, I've got a bit of a backup here. And we're obviously making a raise. And we'll c-bet, and that's just a nice great figure right there. Oh, it looks like we may not have to move as people come in here. So yeah, small blind, big blind situation. We got a fantastic hand for heads up, and we even hit our flop. So we'll sit back and bet that all day long. So I imagine a lot of people, once they do get into a hand, just don't fold. So we're always betting for value. And now that our table is filled, we can talk about the HUD. Now the HUD's totally customizable if you're not familiar with it, and it looks really intimidating. I remember when I started playing online poker a year ago, this looked like the most ridiculous thing you could possibly want to do. So let me get into the hand here, and we see 2 people posted out of turn, which I don't think I've ever seen that. It's usually one. It's a donkey move. You don't want to do it. Just be patient and let the big blind come to you, because something's going to happen like this. Our standard raise is to, I guess, 30, and so we're going to make it 50 cents. And now you've posted a hand, and you're out of position, and you're kind of stuck with it. So it's just a really bad move. And I just skip up free money. Making notes here, so we can go back and talk to the HUD. The first number right there, where you see right here, the first one is VPIP, voluntarily put money into the pot. That tells you how often a player will be in a hand. The next number is pre-flop raise. It's a percentage figure as to tell you how many times a player will be raising pre-flop. The next word right there, it says infinity for me just because the sample size is really small, is the aggression factor. Like, how aggressive are they? The H right here, that's the number of hands I have. As you can tell, I actually have 12 hands on this guy. I don't know how that's possible, but obviously the more hands the better, and you really can't even get a solid read until 100-200 hands, and then it's just kind of I've got a clue on this guy, but not until you've got at least 2,000 hands can you really make some solid reads on people. The next line down here, 3B there is 3-bet, and if you're not familiar, you can look that up, but basically that's when you re-raise someone. And then the F means fold. So that's the 3-bet number, and then it's how often do you fold to a 3-bet. The next 2 numbers are fold or flop continuation bet, excuse me. So that's like what we did with the ace-8 there. We made the pre-flop raise, and then we're continuing with another bet on the flop. And then the F is the fold. How often do you fold to that kind of a bet? The third line is the stealing, and so ST is steal, and so that's the percentage of the time in a steal situation that they make a steal attempt. And then the other two, which I'm looking to change actually, I've got fold the small blind to a steal and fold the big blind to a steal. And really, the only one you need is the fold the big blind steal, because usually they're almost identical. So I'll be looking to change that and maybe add a couple more stats. But as I play full ring coming up, and right now I'm playing 100 no limit, these are the stats you're going to need. And it's great to get used to it. If you're not used to it now, just do the one table or the two tables, and eventually you'll get used to the HUD and using the HUD to make some really solid reads in tough situations, as well as when you go back and replay a situation, specifically like a tough hand and you made a bad call, or maybe you folded when you should and you're not sure. You can go through and use these numbers and determine what a player's range is. So if we know a player's VPIP is 27, well, that's their range of hands if they called us pre-flop. So we're going to put into the top 27% of hands possible. We can put that into a program like PokerStove or PokerRazor, which I prefer, and from there you can really see what our equity, which is how often, if we played the hand out a million times, how good our situation is. So yeah, you can use this kind of program in this HUD to really assist you in reviewing your session. So that was a real interesting stack off there. And this is either going to go pretty well for me or pretty bad, just because every time you play a limit, you're learning what bets mean. In this situation, we're going to be set mining with our nines. We're not going to be 3-betting. We're out of position for the hand, but we have odds to set mine, and we definitely have odds now. Specifically, we're looking, this guy has a full stack. He made a standard raise, and now we got a caller. So if we hit our set, which we have a 12% chance of doing, it justifies us making the call here. And we're not going to bet into this. That'd be what's called a donk bet. You don't want to be doing donk bets. Just play a nice, simple ABC game here. This guy leads out with 40 on this kind of board. This could be a 7, it could be a 3, it could be a pocket pair, it could be a jack. There's so much that this could be. We were just playing the nines for set mining value, so I'm playing a conservative game. There's no need to fall in love with a hand that is crushed by a whole lot of what two people in this case might be holding. So if you're not set mining, basically what you want to be doing is looking at the stack size. If it's 10%, if the bet that they lay out is 10% of their stack size and you got a pocket pair, you're pretty much getting odds to call. And when you make that call, you're just basically coming in basically to hit that set. You hit a set, they usually don't see it coming, especially at these micro stakes, 50 no limit and below. They never see it coming, and they're stacking off with top pair, top kicker, which is honestly not usually good enough in most situations to be stacking off the flop when you're 100 big blinds deep. So it's a great play. It's a great way to just wamboozle a donk who just won't fold. You've got a hand that crushes, usually it's the nut. So it's a good play to be set mining. Just make sure you're not set mining wildly, and if someone had a $3 stack and they bet 50 cents pre-flop, you're not getting the odds to call with a pair of pocket fives. So it's something to keep in mind. And again, obviously 9 minutes in now, you're kind of getting the semblance. I'm figuring someone who's watching a 10 no limit video is fairly new at cash game poker, fairly new to online poker. For those of you playing 200, 400, 600 no limit, move on to another video at this point. But should be interesting stuff, and it's always good to watch a video so you can see what you can do right and what you can do wrong. So we moved along a little bit. I'm going to be pausing and starting the video once I see a hand that I'm going to play. And usually with pocket pairs, I'm leading out in an unraised pot. And so usually it's 3+1 or 3.5+1 or 4+1. So I'm just going to keep it simple. 3 times the big blind plus 1 for every limit.